Today is all about spirit. I know that you guys know that a lot of my work has spirit very much integrated into it. And when I say spirit, I mean connection to source. First step in my healing was realizing what needed to be healed, actually. And that got deeper later on when I realized also what physically needed to be healed. But for me, the beginning of the healing journey was the body-mind connection, understanding the emotional wound that had caused the illness in the first place. I really do believe that if I did not have the faith that I have, if I didn't have the connection that I have to something more than just me, then I don't believe I would have healed the way that I have. I am with you on my own today for the next half an hour. And I thought we could use this as an opportunity to answer any questions that you guys have. So today is all about spirit. And I know that you guys know that a lot of my work has spirit very much integrated into it. And when I say spirit, I mean connection to source. But Jacqueline, yes, I can absolutely speak about my healing journey with you guys today. I was speaking to my boyfriend actually about it, that I really do believe that if I did not have the faith that I have, if I didn't have the connection that I have to something more than just me, then I don't believe I would have healed the way that I have had the opportunity to heal. So, and where are you guys tuning in from? Just welcome. Where are you guys tuning in from? Let me know. Okay. But I will speak about it. So for those of you, some of you will know and some of you don't know, but 6 years ago, I almost died. And I actually thought I honestly believed I was going to die. And it's a very long healing process that happened, or I suppose it could be short from one perspective and it could be long in another perspective. But from when I started being ill, it was, let me think, it was November in 2013. Yeah, it was November in 2013 when I started feeling pain. So it started with pain in my wrist. And at the time I was working on a production, and there was a man that I was working with on that production that he kept triggering me. You know, I've been speaking about wounds with all of you quite a lot. He kept triggering my wounds, and I didn't actually know what he was triggering at the time, but he was triggering these wounds in me, and I was just reacting, and I didn't know how to, at that stage, really respond to this triggering in a positive way. And I was definitely not within my power at that time. And so I was not handling things in the best way possible. I used to produce feature films. I don't know if you guys know that, but I used to produce feature films, and that film was the last film I produced, but it was also the only film that I've ever walked away from. And I was a producer on set, and once I had made sure that because if you're a producer, just so that to put it into context, if you're a good producer, by the time you get on set, there's not much that really needs to be done outside, because you've gathered the best heads of department, you've gathered the best crew, you've gathered the best cast, you've gathered the best of everything, and everyone is together now working as a team and everything is in flow. And so once you get to that point, then you can really, your massive work within the production realm is kind of done. There are little things that you still keep doing, but that the bulk of the work happens in pre-production before you get on set. And so all of this that was happening to me was happening in pre-production. And anyway, so once I'd gotten my crew sorted out and everyone was sorted out, I actually walked away from the production, because when I thought of this man and what he was doing and how it was making me feel, and I think that's the key here, how it was making me feel, I used to get so angry that I would actually fever. I would actually go into like a hot fever. You know the saying, I'm so angry, my blood boiled? Well, I experienced what that actually feels like, to feel your blood boil. So that was the beginning of the getting sick, was my blood boiling, me getting so angry and so frustrated. And I didn't know where to direct it. I didn't know what was making me, I mean, he was behaving terribly, but my response it outweighed what was actually happening to me. And that, I think, is a very key way of gauging whether you are responding from a place of a wound or whether you are responding from a place of something that's happening in life. Because as you guys know, there are times when something happens and to me, it might be like, what? I cannot believe you did that. And then to you, it might not, you're like, why? I mean, it's not even a big deal. But that's our wounding. And so that's why it's so important to identify our wounding. I just want to take a moment to welcome everyone new who has tuned in. I see there are people from KZN, from Melbourne, from Johannesburg, from Cape Town. That is so wonderful. And I see on Instagram there are people from all over the place as well. Tell me where you guys are from and I will absolutely read it out. Also, I must just say thank you so much. I started sending personal thank yous to everyone who has signed up for Thrive, for my membership. And it's really just the building of a community. It's absolutely free. You guys can sign up for it. And there's a number of different perks that come with signing up for it. But for everyone who has signed up for it, I really, I thank you so much for stepping up and taking the opportunity to enrich yourselves. And also just for me, it feels like support and like I'm building, creating space for a new family to come into being. So that I really thank you. I am trying to send personal messages to everyone to say thank you, but there are hundreds. And so I apologize if it takes a little while for me to get back to you in terms of messages. It's not that I'm not grateful. I see every one of your messages coming in. So thank you. I see also Zandi is tuning in from the Midlands in the UK. That's absolutely wonderful. And welcome, Rachel. Or is it Raquel? Raquel, sorry. So then when I was talking about, for those of you who have just joined, my healing journey, which is a very long story, so it's going to take a long time. I actually used to run courses on self-love, healing, and happiness, and I'm thinking of running them again. Let me know if you would be interested, because that will be a space where I can really go in depth, moment for moment, what I did and how I healed. But for today, I'm going to try and accelerate this a little bit and just recap. There's a few things that I think are very important. So I do contextualize this a lot, but I do it because I think it's important. When I say spirit, when I say all that is, when I say God, I believe that all rivers lead to the same ocean. We are all a part of that love, that energy, that life that is greater than us. And we all have different ways of engaging with it, and different ways of feeling it. There's this wonderful story of these blind men that go into a forest. And I always think it's such a great way of connecting us, because these blind men go into a forest and they come across an elephant, and the one is holding its trunk, and the other one is holding its leg, and the other one is holding its ear, and the other one is underneath its belly, and the other one is climbed onto its back. And they all start discussing what this is. And the one that is holding its leg is wrapping its arms around and can almost touch his fingers. And he's like, well, I mean, it's like a tree, really, isn't it? I can almost touch my fingers around it. And it's got a little bit of like spikely, it's almost like brittle hair on it. And the one that is touching its trunk says, oh, it's a very thin tree, isn't it? And it's quite floppy. If you want to describe it as a tree, I guess you could, but like it feels more like a hose pipe to me. And it's kind of floppy, and there's some water coming out the one side. And the one holding the tail says, guys, my hands are tightly wrapped around it, and it feels like there's like a little furry like thing at the end. And the one that's underneath the belly goes, I don't know what you guys are talking about. This is so broad and it's quite smooth, but it's quite cold. And the one that is on its back says, look, I mean, it's smooth and it's broad, but it's warm, it's hot. I don't know what you guys are talking about. And they all start fighting. And they fight and fight and fight, because each one is experiencing the elephant from its own perspective. And so they are all right. But their egos won't allow them to understand that. And so they fight and fight and fight until they kill each other. And I often think that that is what divides so many people, is that we have these blinkers on and we go, no, I'm right, and nobody else is right. And this is my belief. And so I'm going to hold on to it. And that's just the way it is. But the reality is we are all beings, we are all conscious beings going through this experience, and we experience it through our own perspective. And so I believe that all rivers lead to the same ocean. We are all brought up in different spaces, in different belief systems, and nobody is wrong and nobody is 100% right. We are all experiencing things through our own perception. So I want to clarify that. I am getting a question here. So you believe in one God. Do you believe in the year after? Do you believe in heaven and hell? Do you believe in angels? I absolutely believe in angels. I believe in light beings. I believe that there are many forms of life, and we are one expression of it. I have very much connected with spirits that have passed over, that have connected with me. I've done so my whole life, and I've never really spoken about that publicly. I think now is the first time I'm ever really speaking about it. But that has happened to me throughout my life. I think the strongest one that most affected me was my cousin, who passed away when I was 17. And that was the first real deep relationship that I had lost in that way. And it was also the first real experience of connecting in such a profound way with a spirit that had passed over. But yes, I absolutely do, Mohammed. I do believe in, I don't believe in heaven and hell as such, but I have no judgment on anybody who does believe in heaven and hell. I also think it's very possible that there are multiple layers of life happening at the same time, and we are just experiencing this time frame and this reality. But I don't know. I'm open. I'm very open to possibilities. You know, a good scientist knows that science is only the last proven theory, or the last proven experiment. But things change all the time. New experiments come up all the time, and new understandings come up all the time. So I think it's a very dangerous, not very healthy place to be, to say, this is the way it is, and that's it. There's no other option. And I really learned that, going back to the question about my healing journey, I really learned that while I was sick, because before I got sick, I had blinkers on in a lot of ways, and I was a homeopathic baby. And I swore that that I would never do anything like chemo, and that I would always go the natural route. And if it was my time, then it was my time, and all of that. And then when I had that moment after, gosh, it was a year. So it was a year from when I got sick to, I think, when I had that moment where I had been going for a year. I'd been going to specialist after specialist, doctor after doctor. I had been misdiagnosed, put on the wrong medication, put on the wrong medication that it caused me to try and kill myself, because if you were suffering from any type of depression, it had in the warning, it said, if you are battling with any type of depression, warning, do not take this medication, will cause acute depression and can be associated with suicidal tendencies. And the specialist that I went to put me on this medication. And you, as a human being, you go to a doctor, you trust that they are going to give you the right information. And so I was taking this medicine. I was also having brain fog at the time, which doesn't allow you to think clearly. And so in my brain fog, in this depression, on this medication, I try to take my life. And I shared with some of you this weekend that, after that, I did survive, and I went to a secondary facility, and I worked with an amazing psychologist, Gus, and we did shadow work, which I highly recommend all of you do. It's extremely difficult work. I'm not going to lie to you. It is, you have to put on your biggest girl panties and biggest boy underpants, because you have to truly look at yourself and be honest about your shadows and your light. But if you do the work, if you go through the work, which I used to actually take people through that process in my courses as well, when you come out of it, you have found the gifts in your shadows, and that then transforms them. And so Gus was doing this work with me, and he had said to me, where have you been abusive? And for those of you that have heard this before, I apologize, but I am going to repeat it for those of you who haven't, because it was a very pivotal moment for me. I had remembered that I'd been abused as a child, and I was dealing with my rape for the first time while I was there. And so there was a lot of abuse. And Gus said, where have you been abusive? And I got cross with him, and I was like, what are you talking about? I've never consciously hurt anyone. And I even used the example of ants. I step over ants, for crying out loud. And then I went and really sat with it and really worked with it. And I was like, where am I abusive? As within, so without. Whatever we experience in the outside world exists within us. We are not a drop in the ocean. We are the entire ocean in a drop. Rumi's wisdom is so profound there, because that is the truth. Everything. We are everything. There is no such thing as a good person and a bad person. We all contain good and bad. It is our choices that bring us into the light or leave us in shadow. And that's very important, because we are so hard on ourselves about that. And it's very important to understand, I'm not always a nice person, guys. I get moody and I get fed up with things and I get impatient. It happens. I'm human. But the choices I make and the work that I've done in myself allow me to operate more in light than I do in shadow. But that is a lifelong process. I'm saying that to you guys because I want you to also know that for yourselves, to really feel within yourselves that don't judge yourselves. You are doing the best you can. The fact that you're online here with me now means you're doing the best you can. And so I'm going to come back to that moment, because when I realized that I'd been abusing myself, so not other people, I'd been really kind to everything else, but to myself, I'd been abusing myself my entire life. And the reality is that nobody can abuse you more than you abuse yourself, because you're with yourself 24/7. You're with yourself all the time. And so I had damaged myself far more than anybody else could ever have damaged me. And in that moment, I remember that myself and my body just like split, and my body was just said to me, stuff you, I'm not letting you do this to me anymore. And at that point, I'd started functioning again, and I thought I was doing well, and things were good. And literally within 2.5 months, I was wheelchair bound. I could not swallow. I was heavily dehydrated. Nothing could touch my skin. My skin was so sore because it had gone into my nervous system. And so everything was painful. Everything was so painful. And I couldn't function at all. And I was taken to emergency and then to ICU, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. I was a pincushion of tests. But before I went into hospital, before that happened, in fact, it was 2 days before I stopped walking. I remember that I was at my godmother's house in Sedgefield, and it was 2 days before I stopped walking. And I had this moment of just defeat, just like deep defeat of going, oh, I've been trying for a year. I have tried so hard. I just don't know what else to do. And I just prayed. I literally, those moments where you fall on your knees, that's what I did. I fell on my knees and I prayed, and I said, God, Allah, Buddha, Krishna, all that is, please, angels, spirits, guides, help me, because I don't know what to do. And I know I'm dying. I knew I was dying. And I said, please just help me. If it is my time to die, I will accept that. But I know, I knew that I had stuffed up. I know I've stuffed up. I know what I've done. And I'm already on the path. I am trying. I'm doing my best to heal. So please, if you can let me stay, I will do everything I can to make it count. But if it's my time to go, I will go. And I will never forget that moment, because that's when I learned surrender. And that, to answer your question about my healing journey, was the second massive step in my healing journey, because the first was that moment when my body and myself split, because it was when I realized that shadow, that massive shadow that was gripping me. And so those were two of the biggest steps. And then, yes, I did so much. Guys, it's 1 minute to 11. We have to go outside and shout for all of everybody who is doing amazing things for us. So everyone on Facebook, can I take you with me? I don't know if I can. I'm going to attempt to. But remember that 11 o'clock, I'm not sure what time it is all over the world for you guys, but 11 o'clock here is the time in the world that the most people are awake. And so I think, there we go, it goes 11. This is the time when we should all go outside and yell for all the wonderful people that are doing beautiful things for us so that we can be alive. All the doctors, all the people who are bringing us food, all the people that are cleaning up our rubbish. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you guys are doing the same. I wonder if anybody is actually doing this with me, or if everybody just thinks I'm totally nuts. But the thing is that I just think, imagine if we could all just every day at the same time, imagine the whole world actually did that every day at the same time. Oh, okay, I'm back. Sorry, I had. Okay, I'm going to carry on sharing with you guys. Where are my comments from Facebook? So, yay, Sandy did it, Belinda did it, yay, so some of you are actually doing it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I so appreciate you guys doing it. Oh, yay. Envo. What is your name, Envo? Because I don't know. I'm assuming that is your brand. What is your name? I see a big grin there. We're doing exactly that, loud. Thank you. In Johannesburg at 7 p.m. So yes, a lot of people are doing it in their different countries, and different cities. So Johannesburg is doing it at 7 p.m. at night. Cape Town is doing it at 8 p.m. at night, which I am doing as well. And then I know in Spain, somebody said they were doing it at 8 p.m. What time are you guys doing it in the world? Because I know a lot of people are doing it. But what I was thinking, this is my thinking, my crazy thinking, that at 11 a.m. in South Africa is 9 p.m. in Pacific time. And that time, so I Googled it, that time is the time that the most people on this planet are awake at the same time. And so that's why I'm trying to do that, so that the most people all over the planet can be doing it at the same time. Hey, PG, thank you for tuning in. I know a lot more people have tuned in while I was speaking. I do see you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. I see all of you. I'm scrolling down. Thank you. I absolutely do see you. So back to my healing journey. Who asked about that? Was it Jackie? Yes, Jacqueline. Jacqueline, can I call you Jackie? Let me know if I can, if that's okay. I know some people don't like nicknames. But so the first step in my healing was realizing what needed to be healed, actually. And that got deeper later on when I realized also what physically needed to be healed. But for me, the beginning of the healing journey was the body-mind connection, understanding the emotional wound that had caused the illness in the first place. Now, one of the reasons why I was so excited about getting Brandon Bays on board, and she will be here. Okay, Jacqueline, no problem at all. I will call you Jacqueline, no problem. So one of the reasons why I was so excited about getting Brandon Bays here is because she wrote How to Heal Your Life, and in it there are so many. She wrote the journey, and in it she speaks about the mind-body connection. And guys, there are numerous books about this. You can go out and there are so many different books, so many different analogies on the body-mind connection and how our emotions, how our mind, our emotions, and our physicality is all, physiology is all connected, and how they influence each other. There's a great book called Your Body Speaks Your Mind, and that is one of the books that I have used the most. I'm actually craving it. It's somewhere in my storage. But that one for me has been the most accurate. All of them have similarities, a lot of links. But that one for me is the most accurate. And the interesting thing is when I found out that I had systemic lupus and I looked it up, lupus is your body trying to kill itself. Now, I only discovered that 5 months after that moment I had where I felt my body and myself split. But that is what lupus is. And so the other extreme key thing, so figuring out what caused it, what is the wound that caused it, for me was huge. Then surrendering, which means doing your best without an attachment to the outcome, which when you're talking about life and death sounds extreme, and I suppose it is extreme. But in life, what I found is that when I am living from a space of surrender, of doing my best without attachment to the outcome, things flow so much more. It's when we are attached to how something is supposed to come out at the end that we battle a lot more. So surrender, and then 100% my journey of self-love. So my journey of learning to respect myself, to care for myself, to invest in myself, to grow my value, my self-value, to fill my own cup up. I think those three things have been absolutely essential. And then obviously your mind, learning to frame things in ways that are helpful instead of hurtful. And so that's why the course that I was teaching was called Love, Health, and Happiness, because it went through the three different main aspects of what you need to heal. And when I say heal, I mean from anything, even just healing our minds. It doesn't have to be something as severe as what I had. It can be healing from depression. It can be anything. So that is kind of a overarching thing. When I was going through the healing process, I did numerous things. I did body talk. I did Jungian therapy. I did Qigong. I ate for health. Everything I ate was to feed myself medicine, but the right medicine for me specifically. That's also very important. There is no blanket diet for everyone. There's a couple of guidelines that I can give that are good guidelines for everyone, but there is no blanket diet for everyone because we are all individuals. We all respond to different foods in different ways, and we all need different things. And I did so many other things, but those three cornerstones kind of were the anchors that assisted me in healing. And I really knew that if I was supposed to die, then that's what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to die. And I accepted that. So it wasn't, I didn't suffer anymore after that, even though I was in excruciating pain. My soul didn't suffer anymore. The only thing that really, really was difficult was watching my family and friends because they were battling. But for me, I was on path. In fact, I've got ridiculous photos. I can share one with you guys later of me like pulling faces at my mom while I'm high on morphine and stuff, trying to make her smile. because I was, that's the space I was in. Jacqueline, how do you surrender? Sorry, it feels like I'm having a private conversation here. It's totally okay. You guys can ask me any questions you want. How do you surrender? How do you surrender? You go inward and you connect with your deepest self, and you connect with your higher self, and you ask for help. You realize that it's not you who's in control, because we're not in control. The only thing we are in control of is how we decide to respond to what happens to us. We're in control of nothing else. We are co-creators of our life based on our response to what comes in and based on our actions. But I believe we are all on a soul's path. And so I was obviously meant to survive and still be here with you today. And if I wasn't, I wouldn't have been. But go inward, meditate, connect with yourself, connect with your center. And whatever form of prayer makes sense to you, when I pray, I literally speak to God, Allah, Buddha, Krishna, the angels, all that is, Allah, Ra, Gaia, the universe. And I say, please help me in this. And I also say, thank you. And I say, I know that whatever is meant to happen will happen. And I thank you for that, because even if I don't understand what is happening in the moment, even if the moment is extremely challenging for me, I know that everything is happening for my highest good. Everything. No exceptions. And it's a click over of consciousness. And I suppose that takes a little bit of practice sometimes. So you might need to do it a little bit. I also, sometimes you can't surrender. Sometimes it's frustrating and your monkey mind is going round and round. And I use a technique that I learned from Marianne Williamson. And she, when you can't seem to get something off your mind and it keeps coming up and coming up and coming up. So in A Return to Love, I don't know if you've read A Return to Love, but it's a brilliant book. It's based on A Course in Miracles. So A Course in Miracles is that big, and A Return to Love is that big. And I highly recommend you read them both. But if you read A Return to Love, it has a lot of the core teachings of A Course in Miracles. And what A Course in Miracles is just a change in perception, a change in understanding. That's what a miracle is. So miracles are happening all the time in big ways and small ways. And surrendering, Jacqueline, is a miracle. I think it is a miracle when you surrender, because when you surrender, when you just release control, when you say, I know that I am not in control of this. This is not, I have no control of this, and I'm okay with that. And you exhale that, you suddenly create the space for miracles to happen, because the shifts, there's space for things to move. Whereas when you are holding on to things, there's no space for anything to move. There's no space for anything to shift. I hope that makes sense. But what Marianne Williamson does, she's got a little mantra, and you can use it in which way you want. But so she says, God, take this monkey off my back. And you can just say, take this monkey off my back. But you just repeat it, take this monkey off my back, take this monkey off my back, because our thoughts feed the energy matrix. And so if you're constantly thinking that thought, that's what you're feeding. And you've got to be careful of the wolf you feed, right? Because the wolf you feed is the wolf that grows. So if you are having a thought that is not serving you and it's constant and constant and constant, Robin Banks teaches Mind Power. There's a lot of tricks to do that. So you can distract yourself, you can replace the thought, you can laugh at the thought. There's a lot of things that you can do. But one of the easiest ways is just saying, God, take this monkey off my back, or just take this monkey off my back. If it's one of those repetitive ones that just will not go away. And you'll see that it works. And it sounds crazy. It sounds so simple, but you'll see that it works. Yes, one would absolutely, Belinda, one would be able to surrender in the current situation we find ourselves. Absolutely. I have. I have gone, okay, and this doesn't mean, so I do want to really say this, it doesn't mean that you're not going to experience pain, and it doesn't mean that you're not going to experience sorrow. I am trying not to feed the negative matrix that is happening at the moment in terms of the energies of watching the news all day and really submerging myself in all of that. But I am still obviously checking in on what is happening, and my heart does ache. But there are a lot of positives happening as well. And so that is my invitation to you guys, is that you feed the positive things, the positive possibilities that are happening right now for you and for the entire planet. And look for the good news stories rather than looking for the bad news stories. I think that is key. But yes, surrender. We are in this situation. Accept it. This is what's happening. This is the situation that's happening. You can't change what's happening in the world, but you can change how you respond to what's happening in the world. So what choices are you going to make within this current situation to make the most of the opportunities that are being presented to you? Because there are so many opportunities being presented to you. Belinda, does that make sense? Let me know. And Jacqueline, please let me know if that helped. I know you said you appreciate it deeply. I want to know that you can actually take it away and sit with it and think about it, and that it will actually serve you. I'm going to answer a few more questions if anybody else wants to ask anything. You're welcome to ask anything now. I've got a question here. Just out of curiosity, do you believe in or awake of energy crystals and the energy they provide? Yes, I do believe that crystals have energy. I believe that everything has energy. We are all energy and vibration. And sometimes, and it's amazing because crystals, stones, places, objects, things, they all contain energy. And sometimes that's why, I'm sure you guys will relate. Sometimes you'll walk into a space and you just like, oh, I don't want to be here. And you just want to leave. And other times you walk into a space and it's comfortable and happy, and you are happy to be there. And just think of that. And when you relate it to a crystal, absolutely, I believe that everything that is on this planet has different energies and healing properties, and they can be used in incredible ways. I also think that energy can get trapped in crystals quite easily. I know that I battle to go into those crystal shops because I find it too intense. I actually get headaches and feel a little bit overwhelmed. But when I have a home, I've got loads of like rose quartz, and all kinds of crystals around me, because I love their energy and it can feed them. And if anybody has crystals and you want to clear their energy, tonight is a beautiful time to do it. Full moon is always a great time to do it. If you are near the ocean, get some ocean water. Otherwise, just get some sea salt and some water, and put your crystals in the water and put them out in the full moon. And it's a brilliant way of just clearing any negative energy, anything. And then it actually energizes the crystals as well, so you can use them. So yes, I do believe in crystals. Thank you for sharing your personal story with us. This takes incredible courage and strength. Thank you. You are amazing too. You got to remember, I am just a reflection of what already exists in you. Whatever we recognize in ourselves exists in other people, and vice versa. So pay attention to the people that you think are the most inspiring people. And I challenge you to look at them and identify what inspires you about them and what aspects that inspire you exist within you, because I'm telling you, you will find them. They definitely reside within you. Definitely inspirational. Thank you so much. I'm just trying to see any questions so that I can respond to them. Gorgeous hugs and love to you as well. We're doing the same exactly. Loud, yay. JT, thank you, JT. Hugs to you. Stay safe and stay healthy. And we all have time to connect to our inner self. Yes. And you stay safe and healthy as well. The world came together when the people stayed apart. I agree. I love that. The world came together when people stayed apart. I agree. Thank you so much. Jackie, your story Jacqueline, your story resonates so much with me. You have given me so many answers and direction. Good. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Thank you so much for saying that. More about health and food tips. So let me tell you why, for those of you that don't know, why I created Thrive is because I don't want you all to just survive. I want you to thrive. And if you join Thrive, my membership, then what you do is you'll get updates on when everything is happening. You'll always be in the loop of that. You get special offers and competitions and those sorts of things, because I will be launching those sorts of things as well. And then you also get first dibs on asking questions when we do Norma and Wendy, the live readings. So yeah, that is what's happening. We've got 3 minutes left and then I've got to go. Michael is saying, I'm with the tourism industry, very stressful with what the future holds. Yes, it is. That is completely understandable. And I don't have an answer for you right now, but there are very interesting innovations coming up. Maybe there's another secondary business that you can start that can assist you while you are figuring out your next step and while the world figures out their next step. Starting a secondary income. I think that anybody relying on just one income in today's day and age is putting yourself in a very vulnerable position. So I really believe in creating second streams, third streams, fourth streams of income. I highly recommend all of you do that. And I saw actually, Michael, on that note, that Kruger is doing free game drives. So you can actually jump online at specific times of the day. I'm not sure what time, but just Google it. And you are able to watch game drives in the Kruger. How wonderful is that? So you're traveling without traveling. So maybe that's something to think about, Michael. How can you assist people in traveling without traveling? If people are stuck in their homes, what can you do now to assist them to travel without physically traveling? Just an idea. Everybody, much love and light. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been great. And please sign up for my membership Thrive so that we can be as connected as possible and we can grow the community as much as possible. Much love and light. Bye for now.